What is good, my family? I am back with some more Virtua Fighter talk. And here in this video here, everybody, we still all keeping our fingers crossed when it comes to Virtua Fighter cross esports. We're still, wondering, hoping what the project is, if it's got something to do with just a straight offline tournaments or whatever, or if it is some type of sequel or port of some sort. We still keeping our fingers crossed. Now here, what I want to talk about is if it is some type of sequel slash reboot. I just want to talk about what I would do if I were in charge of a new Virtua Fighter project. Now this is not no concrete type of shit or nothing. This is just kind of, what if, just to put some, some thoughts in the air on, how a new Virtua Fighter would look like, or a new Virtua Fighter should look like, especially in this day and age. So this is what we're going to talk about in this video here. Now I'm going to say it again. This is just a what if. This is just a what if I would do if I was making a Virtua Fighter sequel, like a Virtua Fighter 6 or like a Virtua Fighter reboot or something like that. This is just a what if. So let's get into the shit. Now the first thing that I would do is the obvious, and this is something that I've been talking about for years when it comes to Virtua Fighter, and that is story. A built-in cinematic storyline for the viewers, for the players, for Virtua Fighter. That is the first thing I would do, because the thing about it is with Virtua Fighter of course puts the fighting first, but still we need a story. It doesn't need the story don't gotta be deep. It don't gotta be dramatic of any type, but we just need some type of a cinematic story, especially for like the casual fighting game player. The casual fighting game player will at least have fun with that, because when it comes to Virtua Fighter, people say that it's so hard and all of that shit to play, but it's really not. But at least if you have a built-in cinematic story, the casual gamer will have fun with that. Maybe have character cinematic endings. Now me, if I were to make a new Virtua Fighter, I'll do something different. I would have cinematic intros and have cinematic endings, and then of course have real-time cutscenes in between or some shit like that. And also what I would do, I would bring back the classic arcade mode. That is something that has just not been seen in a lot of these fighting games. The classic arcade mode is just gone. It's just gone. It's just, where is it? It's just like, developers are just dodging it. So I'll put back in the classic arcade mode and put that in with the built-in story mode with cinematic intros and endings, so at least the casual fighting game players get the better understanding of the characters and what's going on with the story. Now if I was in charge of a story mode, man, there'd be so many great ideas that I would do with the story mode, especially with characters like Akira with the whole Baji Chuan story, and then you got Shun-Di, the whole drunken story. He's a medicine man, shit like that. Jackie and Sarah, Jackie trying to save Sarah from J6 and shit like that. So, we can learn about Kage's mother and all of that shit, and Jeffrey and the whole Devil Shark shit and all that. Man, a story mode, a cinematic story mode, that is first and foremost that I would do if I were to make a Virtua Fighter sequel. Story cinematic mode first and foremost. Now the next thing that I would pay attention to is the character art. Now a lot of people think that Virtua Fighter's characters, as far as I guess you could say looks, how they look, a lot of people think that the characters are kind of bland and kind of boring. But here's what I got to say about that, and I explained this in another video that I did probably like a couple of months ago, is that Virtua Fighter characters are the core influence of so many of these other fighting game characters out here. So I don't think that I would change much when it comes to these characters and their approach. But what I will do, I would sharpen up the art a little bit, make the characters just a little bit more, make them a little bit more mighty, make them a little bit more Marvel Universe kind of when it comes to the art. But other than that, I feel like Virtua Fighter, like the characters, the character approach, it's fine for the most part, because like I said, these characters are the basis for so many other fighting game characters in the world for the last 20 years. And that's just simple facts right there. If somebody says something different, they have no knowledge of Virtua Fighter, and they probably don't got no fucking knowledge of fighting games. Virtua Fighter characters, you can just see these characters influence all over the damn place. But you know, when it comes to the art, yeah, I would really I would give the characters more of an art flash. Another thing that I would do if I were to make a new Virtua Fighter game, I would keep Final Showdown's mechanics intact. I would not change a damn thing. Because I personally think still to this day that Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown has the fastest, most fluid, and most crisp mechanics out of any fighting game in the world today. The game is just so fast, so fluid. It's really like the flow of water. It really is. And I would not change that. A new Virtua Fighter game, I would keep Final Showdown's mechanics. I would keep the counter hit system. I would definitely keep the evading system. The evade system is perfect. I would definitely keep that system in. You know, definitely keep all of the, you know, the ECD and the cancel outs and all of that. Definitely keep all of that shit in. Final Showdown, they perfected that, the mechanics. The mechanics to me really seem perfected. I would keep that into the new Virtua Fighter game. Now, another thing that I would work on is the Virtua Fighter females. And what I mean by this is I would make the Virtua Fighter females more sexy. I would make them more kind of, you know, a little bit on the vixen side, kind of crazy. Like, you know, I ain't talking about dead or alive type, like, no, not like that. But, you know, I would make them sexy around the edges a little bit, you know, kind of, you know, show off their sex appeal a little bit, you know, get up there and, you know, swing some hips or stuff like that. Have that little sexy arrogance about themselves. I would definitely change that about the Virtua Fighter females, because I'm gonna tell you right now, while the Virtua Fighter females, they're cute, they're beautiful, they look like 30-year-old virgins right now. So I would definitely change that about the Virtua Fighter females. Make them more sexy around the edge. Make them more kind of vixen type, you know, make them more, you know, what's the word for it? I guess, you know, make them more loose. Let's just put it like that. Just make them more loose. Like I said, not like dead or alive or nothing like that. Not with the whole titty thing. They don't gotta be like that stupid shit. No. But yeah, make them more sexy and loose. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely do that with the Virtua Fighter females. Now, this next thing that I'm gonna talk about here, if I were to make a new Virtua Fighter game, I would put a Filipino Kali Eskrima martial arts master into the game. He don't necessarily have to be Filipino, but I would definitely put the martial arts. I would definitely put Filipino martial arts into the game, because I really do like Filipino Eskrima martial arts. I really either a lot of people either don't know about it or really kind of don't care about it, but it's unknown in some parts and people know about it. Deep martial artists, you know about it. You know, back in my training days, you know, we learned about it a little bit, read about it, and that's one of the martial arts that I've always wanted to see in Virtua Fighter. In any other fighting game, probably yeah, but Virtua Fighter for the most part, I've always wanted to see the Filipino martial arts in Virtua Fighter, because the way Sega likes to do their martial arts, they study it, the motion capturing and all of that shit. It would be dead on how a Filipino expert would really do in real life. So that's one thing that I would do. I would put a Filipino martial arts Kali Eskrima master into the game. Now, what I'm going to talk about next is going to be an unpopular opinion, because Virtua Fighter is not known for what I'm about to bring up. But, you know, like I said before, sometimes you gotta change with the times. And also, too, I kind of feel like, you know, if I were to make a new Virtua Fighter game, I feel like certain things that you could add on that just would not hurt the game at all. What I mean by that is kind of like cinematic KOs or something like that. Something inside the game that makes it kind of give us that theater-like feel to it. Like I said, keep final showdowns mechanics in the game. But what I'm talking about is, like, I will put in a system kind of like, say for instance, if I evade my opponent and throw out 3K, and of course that's going to be a blue flash counter hit stun, right? That could be a little cinematic right there. You know, you 3K somebody, that could be a little cinematic, kind of like what they were doing with Dead or Alive 6, just a little bit. But I would do it better, because one thing that I would do with that is you can stun them. It'll go back to the final showdown mechanic, so then you can have time to gather up. You could do your max combo and shit like that, and the flow would still go. That little the little cinematic thing wouldn't hurt nothing. So I would just do something like that. I would also do something like I just said, like a cinematic KO. Nothing really special. Now, I'm not talking about that slowdown shit that they got in Tekken 7. No, I'm not talking about that crap. What I'm talking about is, this is kind of like that last hit. If you hit somebody or kick somebody or whatever, you just get that last cinematic hit, and then you got the characters screaming at the top of their lungs because they got hit and they lost and shit like that. I feel like, that wouldn't hurt a new Virtua Fighter game at all. It wouldn't hurt the flow, wouldn't hurt the mechanics, it wouldn't hurt the tradition at all. I think, I would put something like that in, you know what I'm saying? And probably another unpopular opinion, but I feel like it would be necessary. If I were to make a new Virtua Fighter game, I would definitely put in special lightning effects. We see this with pretty much every other fighting game. I feel like Virtua Fighter definitely should incorporate that. Just have a special lighting effect when you hit somebody, or like a counter hit effect. Now, Final Showdown has it, but it's like, it just needs to be taken up a notch. You know what I'm saying? So special lightning effects, that wouldn't hurt the flow of the game at all. I would definitely put that in there. And then after that, of course, if I were to make a new Virtua Fighter game, of course, I would definitely redo the characters' voices. I would definitely redo that, because, man, let's just keep it real. Final Showdown, the voices that we hear in Final Showdown, those are voices all the way back from Virtua Fighter 3. Let's just keep it real. The character voices have just been recycled, and it's to the point like, man, come on. You gotta put something new in. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely do that with character voice acting, character dialect, like when characters, have characters talk while they're fighting. Kind of like, like in Soul Calibur, the characters talk a lot while they fight. Have it like that, because that's not going to hurt nothing. That's not going to hurt no gameplay. That's not going to hurt your max combo or anything, to have the characters talk, while they fighting and stuff like that. And, I probably would do what they're doing with Tekken 7. I probably would be like, American people speak English, Chinese people speak Cantonese or Mandarin or whatever, Japanese speak Japanese, or make it to where everybody at least speaks English, but make it like that. But all in all, like, characters just really need a total voiceover. I know when there's classic win poses, you can keep that, but voices can still be redone. I think that's one thing about Virtua Fighter, man. I'm just gonna keep it real about that, man. These voices that we hear in Final Showdown, these voices are like almost 20-something years old. Let's just keep it real. You feel what I'm saying? I would definitely change that. And also too, going back to like mechanics, I think also too with mechanics, like, I would add in the power struggle mechanics like they did in Injustice 2, where you have characters clash and they're going back and forth trying to get the power edge on each other, and you would have to press a button or whatever. That would fit perfectly into a new Virtua Fighter game. I love that. Like, make it like I guess you could say like a power struggle system y'all both going back and forth, and whoever pressed the right button, bam, get that counter hit, get that combo. You know, I would definitely add something like that in the new Virtua Fighter game, because that would fit perfectly for a game like Virtua Fighter, because of its depth, because of, you know, the ability to get your opponent in an evade situation or an Itaku situation. I would definitely add something like that. Now, for extra content in the game, what I would do if I'm making a new Virtua Fighter game, on side of the arcade story mode, I would bring back the original Kumite mode. I would definitely do that. Man, that shit was classic. I would bring that back. Maybe the quest mode, but I'm more of the Kumite guy. I love that Kumite shit, that endless battle. I love that shit, because I know people like the quest mode too, but I love the Kumite mode. Love that shit. Played that shit for hours. I would bring that back, and then I would make something like an RPG mode. And what I mean by that, like making an RPG mode, like I would do something like, you know, take a character, then they can play out some type of action or some type of adventure, and give them missions depending on their personality. Say for instance, like Lau. Lau is a chef, so I would give him chef missions or some shit like this, some fun chef shit. You know what I'm saying? This, you know, it could be fun, silly. Be like mission 1, make a chef salad. Mission 2, make a fucking deep dish something, because Lau is a chef, something like that. Or kind of like with Shundi, he's a medicine man. Have some medicine puzzles or something. He can make medicine for his customers. Do something like that. I would definitely do some shit like that. I'm gonna tell you right now, man, Sega need to hire me. They need to hire me right now, because I will get the new Virtua Fighter game. Will have extra content, all that shit. I'll put all that shit in, and it'll all make sense. Definitely like an RPG mode, like I'm saying, shit would definitely make sense in Virtua Fighter. And then on top of that too, kind of like with Pi is like a movie star. She can have some movie star, you know, she can have some movie star missions. Probably like she has to perform, you know, some type of kick or something to get her next role, some shit like that. Or like Lei Fei, you know, Lei Fei be in the Shaolin Temple, he's surrounded by a whole type of monks, and you got to do certain moves because y'all in the 36 chambers. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, I would put in like an RPG mode where characters can do missions depending on their personalities. I'll definitely do that. Y'all can't say that shit ain't fire. That shit fire right there. I would definitely do some shit like that if I made a new Virtua Fighter game. And last but not least, no guest characters. No fucking guest characters. And there's a lot of motherfuckers on Twitter talking about, well, Virtua Fighter needs guest characters. No, the game don't. No guest characters. Get that shit out of here. We're gonna keep it original. We're gonna keep it traditional. We just need about 3 or 4 new characters, original characters, and we good. No fucking guest characters. Get that shit out of here. So family, those are the things that I would do if I was in charge of making a new Virtua Fighter game. Like I said, this shit ain't concrete. This is just, you know, some what if shit, because, you know, we all still waiting and keeping our fingers crossed about this new Virtua Fighter Cross Esports and what it is and what it's gonna be. So I just felt to get on here and just to be like, you know what, if I were to make a new Virtua Fighter game, what would I put in it? You know what I'm saying? So let me know y'all thoughts and feelings, and let me know what y'all would do, what features would y'all put in, what type of characters, original characters, would y'all put in the game if y'all were making a new Virtua Fighter game. Let me know in the comment section below, and we can get the conversation started. This is your boy Demetrius. Thank you for watching. Thank y'all for listening. I honestly hope y'all enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to your boy for the hottest non-stop Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown action on YouTube, period. I'ma holler at y'all in the next video. God bless. Stay safe. I am out. Peace.